So, with the new Hellraiser Chapter update, we also seem to finally be getting the new matchmaking and ranking system, which has been tested over the last few months and most recently in the latest player test build. The new system brings changes to the way matchmaking is done behind the scenes, how ranks are represented and what they really mean. In this video, I'm going to go through all this for you, so you don't have to. By the way, if you want more information on how specifically SBM works, you can also check out my previous video. The card will be in the top right or under this video. And it's from a few weeks back, but I highly recommend if you are confused at all after this video. Also boys, right before we get into it, I'd like to say that I do stream over on Twitch quite regularly, assuming my sleep isn't in the bin like it has been recently, but yeah, if that's something you'd like, please drop a follow, and you'll be notified next time I go live. But for now boys, let's get into SBMM. So SBMM, or skill-based matchmaking, is the new system behaviour I've been testing occasionally in an attempt to try and fix the old rank-based matchmaking. It does this by assigning every player a more specific rating behind the scenes rather than the not so accurate ranks. The main problem with the old matchmaking was that players who had perhaps not played for a while would get paired into low rank and therefore low skill level lobbies, and then even more problems would sometimes appear when Swifts were formed with many different ranks, as these ranks are not accurate enough of a skill calculator, I guess, to make a fair game for both killer and survivor. By implementing a skill rating, players would instead have a more accurate measurement of skill and therefore, hopefully, fairer matches across the board whether they were low or high-end skill players. Behaviour did state that they did notice fairer matches between low-mid skilled players, with less variance from the average when it came to odds of escaping or killing a survivor, within 25% either way. However, high skill players would see more variance, but this is mainly due to the low number of players at this high skill level, like we're talking top 5% of players. It is also important to note that the new system also allocates each individual killer with their own MMR, which means that you can play each killer comfortably and fairly, no matter if they're your main or you're playing them for the very first time. Obviously, I'm looking at this pretty positively, but this is mainly because I just believe that at the end of the day, unless people who don't even know what game they're playing are getting matched with pro player god squads, then really it can't get any worse than rank-based matchmaking that we're all used to. Also, with the new SBMM system, it also changes the purpose of ranks, as they're no longer required for matchmaking. Ranks are now going to be called grades, and are responsible for calculating the monthly rewards a player has earned. The new grades will still be grouped into 5, which consist of Ash, Bronze, Silver, Gold, and finally Iridescent, and each of these groups will also feature 4 subgroups, numbered from 4 to 1. On the 13th of every month, aka the old rank reset, all players will now be reset to Ash 4 on both Killer and Survivor, rather than going back, just a few. They will also receive blood point rewards for both of the roles, which depends on the grades they got previously. We're told that players can earn up to 250,000 blood points on each individual role, so if you play both sides of the game, Killer and Survivor, then you can potentially be earning 500,000 bonus blood points every month. The grade system itself will work similarly to the old rank system by making use of pips and depips, which were dependent on how you played in the game. However, the key difference for grades is that it will no longer be possible to lose enough pips to go down a grade. Essentially, once you hit a grade, you won't go any lower until the next rank reset. Personally, as nice as monthly blood points will be, I wouldn't mind seeing behaviour maybe introducing some other rewards like some maybe iridescent shards or even custom grade-based cosmetics, which I think would be really cool. Especially if you could maybe pick who you got the cosmetic for, although I imagine that's a step too far, especially for behaviour. But just before we wrap up boys, I did just want to take a quick look at a couple comments from the last video on SBMM and their thoughts on it being added to the game. Firstly, we've got this comment from Gadfly, who says he's not the biggest fan so far of SBMM, but if it was to be implemented, a big thing for him would be the ability to see your own MMR. Personally, I'd also like to have this option, even if we couldn't see others, although I imagine this will just get to the point of endgame chats being, oh, what's yours, what's yours, what's yours, if you know what I mean. However, Behaviour haven't shown any intention of this. I imagine they want to keep it secret and behind the scenes, so I doubt it's something we'll see anytime soon, if ever. The other comment here that I wanted to mention is from BMX Gamer 31, who worries that SBMM could make Dead by Daylight matches sweatier and therefore less fun to play. Similar to how we've seen it in other games like Fortnite, for example. And I do think he may have a point, especially with monthly rewards, which will be introducing a bigger incentive for players to make sure they play well, rather than maybe necessarily having the most fun, especially considering ranks at the moment don't mean anything, so players often maybe piss around a bit more, rather than maybe necessarily trying their hardest. Obviously, for a lot of players, winning and playing well is their main source of fun, so it's going to be hard to balance both of these types of players, the ones who want to just purely piss about, have fun, and those more competitive, want to win kinds of players, without splitting them apart. The only way you could really do this is if you made two separate game modes, for example, casual mode and a competitive mode, which would have your ranked monthly rewards in. However, as much as this would be quite cool to see, I doubt at the moment that it would be logistically viable, as I feel like they'd struggle to get enough players to support both game modes separately, especially adding on the fact that you've got 2 roles in each queue for each mode, and just the game maybe not quite being big enough player-wise. Overall, personally, I do feel as though SBMM, even if it doesn't appear like it now, will be good for the overall playing experience in Dead by Daylight. And I just think people need to give it more time if it isn't perfect right away. But what do you think? Let me know with a comment below, and I'll be taking a look at every single one. But for now, boys, that is it from me, so I do really hope you enjoyed this video or found it useful. If you did, please drop a like, it really helps out the channel. And if you wouldn't mind, please consider subscribing for more videos like this and other DVD-related content. Until next time though, boys, have a good one. Peace.